reviewing the season last year, how did you like the team's fundamentals, its ability to just make the tackles and make the basic plays?
Yeah, well, obviously I know Coach Muschamp kind of hit some of that stuff, but we wasn't very good versus the run. And that's one of the points that we'll make this spring, stopping the run and doing a better job of doing that. And that's just go to just doing your job, keeping your head in your gap, taking proper angles, tracking the ball the right way. And that's one of the big focal points of the spring.
Is it a case of having to relearn tackling, or is it just the scheme? It needs to be a little tweaked?
No, it's just doing it right all the time. I mean, you can look at the same guy and he do it right 5 times and do it wrong 3 times, and the 3 runs come out there for 80 yards. So it's just doing it more consistently, and I think that's one of the emphasis that we put on is doing the little things better, and those are things that we need to continue to improve upon.
You'll certainly have better numbers in the secondary when everybody's healthy, but as a group, talent-wise, how will this group look compared to what you inherited when you first got here?
Yeah, I tell you what, we inherited some really good players. You look at Chris Lamont, you look at Rashad Fenton. So I'm not going to sit here and say that we didn't have players playing in the secondary, because we did. But we do have some talented guys right now that is really striving in the program. You look at J.C. Horn, you look at Israel, you look at R.J. Roger, you look at some of those guys, Jemias Williams. I mean, those guys are talented players that knows our system, that played a lot of football and played very well. So, I'm excited about those guys. Obviously, we're a little light in the secondary right now with the 3 guys that we signed not able to be here right now. So, we have some guys out there that probably, won't help us in the season at this current state. But, we're excited about the guys that we do have, and I'm excited about the young guys.
I know it's early, but what kind of impact has Coach Scott had on that defensive line unit, and what are you looking out of that unit to progressive?
Well, that's our most talented unit. We finally, at the point, have depth, and that's the one thing that we've been lacking for the last 3 years up front is depth. And recruited the right guys. We got the right guys in the building, and we're excited about them. I'm excited about Coach Scott. He's done a great job of just bringing some of his thinking to our room, and, sometimes just need some fresh ideas. And he was able to give us some of those things as far as the run game, as far as some different things that we can do to help the program. So we're excited about him.
Not to expose trade secrets, but what are some of those ideas, at least specifically?
Well, that's exposing secrets, so I won't go into that. But, just some different things, some different techniques, just some stuff that we hadn't done, whether it's playing a shade or playing a 2-wide, certain different sets, and, just some different thinking. So just fresh ideas in the room is always good.
Coach, in that position group, DJ Wanham comes back to the field, you get him healthy. How nice is it to have number 8 back out there, but then another leader, TJ Brunson, not out there with you during spring? What's the pros and cons of that?
Well, obviously what it does, it gives guys like Ernest Jones a chance to go out there and rep with the ones and communicate, which he's doing a really good job. He's been all off season in the 4th quarter program, and today he was communicating. I heard him a bunch out there, so I'm excited about Ernest, and it just gives him a chance to get better. Obviously, it was a big blow to the defense with losing Dennis Wanham last year, and it really affected our play because of the kind of person he is, number one, because the guys gravitate to him, and he's a great guy to be in the locker room. He's a great guy on the field. So it's nice to have him back out there and moving around and doing all the things that I'm used to seeing him do.
T-Rob, when you guys lost as much as you lost in the secondary, I mean, does it get down to a point where you just have to say, you maybe not want to start a freshman, but you're going to have to? I mean, and are you guys prepared to do that?
Yeah, always. Our motto here now, and that's been with Coach Muschamp and myself for a long time now. If you're the best player, you'll start. If you're good enough, you'll play. And if you're not, you won't. And you look at guys like JC, he started every game since he's been here. You look at Israel, a guy who started late in the season. You look at RJ, who we had no plans on playing to the middle of the season. And you look at the Ole Miss game, and every game after that, the guy played a bunch of reps. So, we done played a bunch of freshmen, so we're not scared to play freshmen at all. We just got to get them ready. Obviously it helps if some of those guys was mid-year, but those guys are not, and it is what it is. But, we'll do a good job and getting those guys prepared and ready to play for the season.
Are you optimistic those 3 guys that currently aren't here will be here sometime this summer?
Oh, yeah, I think those guys will be here and ready to go. A couple of those guys will be here in the Maymester, which will be good, and then the other guys will be in the first summer session. So we're excited about that, and we'll be fine.
Do you know which ones will be here in May?
In May, I believe Shiloh, and I believe Cam, but I'm not certain. But I believe that's who it is.
Janelle Cooke, what do you see from him now that you'll be able to prep him to play, and what does he bring to the secondary?
Yeah, it's funny, man, because it's hard for a kid who knows he's not playing to prepare the right way. And so I really didn't know what we had up until today. And I thought, he showed up a little bit today. He did some nice things out there, and we changed his position, so he'll play some safety more so than corner. And I think that'll be a good place for him. But, he did a really good job today, and he got to continue. He got a lot to learn. I mean, he hadn't had the reps at doing that. Last year he was on scout team playing receiver. He was doing all different things to help us. So it was really our first time getting a chance to work with him at the safety position. So, he did some encouraging things.
What was the biggest
How has Janelle progressed physically since he's been here?
Really good. He's getting stronger. He's starting to take the weight room seriously. And that's one of the big emphasis that we had with him. And, our nutrition staff, Kristen Coggins, she does a great job with our guys. And you can see their bodies changing. So we're excited about him, and he just got to continue to keep developing. And he have a long way to go, but we have a long way to go to get to September. So he got time to get there. So we're excited about him, and we'll see how he progresses.
What was the
With
biggest
Janelle,
factor?
With Janelle, what made you kind of say safety over corner after you worked at corner through most of last season?
He's a longer guy, and he's probably not as fluent with the hips as far as like Israel. So playing outside at corner can be a little difficult at times. But he will tackle. He's a physical guy, and he's an intelligent guy. And he's trying, and that's the one thing that I told him. If he continue to try to learn exactly what we're doing, because it's not easy to play safety at our place. It's really not. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of extra work, not just in the building when everybody else is learning it. It takes some extra time spending time with me, spending time with Coach Kranz, spending time with some of our GAs. And he's doing that, and, hopefully it pays off for him.
With a guy like JC, what are your expectations for him after his freshman year, and how do you manage not bringing him along but not trying to put too much on him too quickly?
I'm going to put as much as he can handle. JC is a really good player. He comes from a really good family background of football, and, JC will be fine. But I expect the world out of JC. I mean, I think he's a really good football player and got a chance to be a dominant football player in our conference. And that's his expectations, and that's definitely our expectations of him. But he's a good player, and we're excited about him, and looking for him to do some big things. I don't think JC got an interception, if I'm not mistaken. So that's not good. So he need to get the ball off some people.
What do you think was
Depth at safety? How about Jam? Is he back to corner now, or is he still safety?
Jam's a safety nickel. I think that's his best position for us because Jam's been in the system. We was talking a little trash in the meeting yesterday. He's the godfather back there now. I mean, it seemed like he just got here, man. But he's he's a guy who's always in here looking at tape. He said something funny the other day. They was talking about who played the most. He said, check the exos. That's the film stuff. So, I got a lot of games on tape. But Jam played a lot of football for us, and we're excited about Jam. And can't wait to get him back fully. He'll do a little bit with us, but not all right now. So we're excited about him.
what's the biggest factor for the reason that your linebacker play dropped off the way it did last year?
Obviously losing Sky Moore. I mean, that'll probably be a big reason to drop off anything. I mean, he was a guy who corrected a lot of mistakes. And by that, I mean, a guy jump out his gap, he can go make the tackle in his gap or the gap next to him. He's just that talented. And so I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons. And then, that was the first time Sherrod got a chance to play a bunch. L was hurt, so we didn't get him out there. And then Damani played a little bit, and he that was his first time out there. So we was just inexperienced. So that's the one thing that I would say. And, obviously with TJ, he's been a staple in the program for a long time now. But he was the only guy down there that was out there that played a bunch of football. So
I know Rescindo's limited, but would you say that he made probably the biggest progression of those guys on the next level at that position?
I would say it's probably the same. I really think Damani did a really good job, too, of learning what to do. He struggled when he first got here of doing that, and he did a great job of honing in to what we were trying to do, and he did a better job. So I would say probably all of them, that's probably the same.
With your three guys you signed, Cam and Shallow and Johnny, what are some of the things that you liked about them in the recruiting process and what they might be able to add to y'all?
Obviously, to play in our system, to play corner in our system, a guy have to be able to cover man-to-man. That's what we want to do. That's who we want to be. And at times, in previous years, we weren't able to do that as much as we wanted to do. So I think those guys are really good shutdown man-to-man guys. We had all those guys in camp. We moved them around. We seen those guys. So I'm excited about them. And I know people that they know. And that's big to me. So, but I'm excited about them guys, and I believe that they'll come in and they'll compete to play.
Going back to your depth in the secondary with AJ, working with defense the first 5 practices, then going back to offense. Just to go with him, like if you get into a pinch during a game, he can immediately go back there, or take him a week to get ready.
Yeah, that's right. Because you look at last season, all the stuff that occurred, and then you look at AJ playing in the bowl game, playing corner. It was times he was out there at corner, and we'll say a call, and he had no idea what the call was. He had to look to me, and I tell him to back up. I mean, it was tough, and so I think that's a really good deal for him for his future as well, just to see if he can do it. Which he's more than capable of doing. He's very talented. He's a smart kid, and he's working at it. So we're excited about AJ. So we'll get him for the first 5, and then I'll try to beg coach or something, see if I can get Shy something for 2 practices too, because he looked really good too.
Is he maybe one of the most versatile players you coach? I know he's a big deal on special teams. He plays running back. Now you got him at defensive back. What's that say about a kid that can do all those things?
He's a competitor.
That's the one thing about AJ. Might not be the biggest guy, might not be the biggest running back, might not be the biggest corner, but he's going to compete in everything we do. And he's always going to be first, and he's doing a really good job. And, he's the ultimate team guy, and that's the one thing that Coach Muschamp put out in front of the team. Here's a senior who is going to compete to be our starting running back. And for the first 5 practices, he's going to come out and he's going to play corner. I mean, that says a lot about a guy. And he didn't say one thing. He didn't complain. You ain't heard him anything in the locker room, nothing. He just came out and he did it, and he's competing at it, and he's learning it, and he's doing a good job. So I appreciate his efforts. I appreciate him and for what he's doing for our football team.
What was it like to watch kind of the growth and the progress of Israel through kind of going through last season, and how different of a player is he, starting spring as compared to where he left off last year?
Israel is a unique guy. He's 6'5", and he's playing corner. And he's not a safety. He's a true corner. He can move his feet good. I think the one thing about Israel that people don't know and probably can't know is his work ethic. I mean, he's a great human. I mean, this guy does everything right. He's always in the building. Since I've been here, I've never seen him on a list. He never missed one thing. He's always done right. And it shows on the field because he always do right on the field. He knows what to do. He's very intelligent. And the one thing about him and JC, they're best friends, and they push each other. So JC is an ultimate talented guy. He really is. And Israel is right there working to try to beat him in everything he do. So they push each other. And so I'm excited about that, man. And I'm excited to have those guys with that kind of length out on the edges. And we got a chance to be really good doing that way.
Did you expect that he'd be able to kind of take on as big a role as he did by the end of last season, or was that maybe a little surprise?
You know what? Until you give a kid an opportunity, you don't know. Yeah, I was surprised that he was able on those kind of stages. You look at the Clemson game when he was thrown out there and had to cover some of those guys and did a really good job of competing and battling with those guys. But he's smart and he works and he's a good person. And I'm a big believer of, if you're a good person, good things will happen to you. And that's him.
How much did last year's injuries limit your ability to be as aggressive as you might have wanted to be, with blitzes and things of that nature and the way you call a defense?
Yeah, I wouldn't say limited. I would say, obviously we had new faces in there. So, got AJ out there and you don't know what the plays are. And you got, safeties. Israel started at safety in the game. And, RJ was out there and he hadn't played. So I wouldn't say I limited myself, because during the course of the week we had a game plan and we stuck to it, whether it was good or it was bad or whatever the case may be, But our guys, they'll be fine. We're excited about them. So.
Coach Muschamp talked about trying to improve the turnover margin heading into this season. How as coaches do you teach that better, or is it just trying to get guys lined up at the right spot?
No, we talk about turnovers all the time. Our plan to win, the number one thing we talk about in this organization is the football. It must be important because they named the game after it. So that's what we talk about. That's what we believe in. That's who we are. In the first couple of years we were here, we got a bunch of turnovers. And then last year, it was just something about it, man. We just couldn't get them. It was a bunch of tips and overthrows, and we're right there. I just think of the Florida game, and I showed the guys, that's why I can kind of remember them right now. I showed the guys, a bunch of them today. And, hey, man, these are opportunities that we missed. And this can't happen. For us to be the football team that we want to be and that we're capable of being, we have to make those plays. And so we got to get the tips and the overthrows. When the ball's on the ground, we got to come up with the football. And we had our opportunities and we didn't cash in on them. So we got to do a better job. Coaching staff, we got to do a better job. Players, of getting the football, and that's something that we talk about on a day-to-day basis.
With Kinlaw out in the spring, who are some of the guys that you're anxious to see step up in that interior to help your depth there?
Well, right now, Kinlaw is out. Kier is a little limited. Then you look at Kobe Smith, who played a bunch of football, so he's a solid guy. I think Ricky Sanders would be one of the guys of interest that need to continue to get better. He's working hard in the weight room. He's trying to get stronger and doing all the things like that, and I think Coach Scott will be really good for him. You look at Devontae Davis, a guy we're going to play inside some, all right, and he's a guy that I'm looking anxious. He's a big body who's athletic, who can help us inside, and then Zach Pickens, who right now is a little limited, but's fine, and he'll be practicing and doing things, and I'm excited about him playing inside as well as outside in some occasions as well. So I'll probably just look at those guys, and then Jabari Ellis been a guy, who's been surprising throughout the fourth quarter program, which you would have told me he'll be where he is right now, last year. I'd probably say, no, I don't believe you. But he's a guy who done worked on his body. I think, our strength and conditioning program and Coach Campbell and Coach Dillman, they do a great job with those guys. And so we're excited about it, and I think we got a chance to be good up there. I really do.
Why is Zach limited?
Why is Zach limited? He's all right. Just got a little banged up a little bit. So he's all right. Yeah, came in. Yeah, but he's fine. He'll be good to go.
What would be your dream scenario in utilizing Zach? I'm not saying all American.
You ever seen that guy that played for the Eagles, number 91, Fletcher Cox?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably something like that guy. That'll be my ideal dream scenario. Just disrupt everything, and Aaron Donald and them kind of guys, which he has the capability to do one day. Obviously, he's a freshman, guys, and he's a long way from doing that right now. He's learning the plays. He don't even know what we're doing right now, so he's just running around like a chicken with his head cut off. But ideal player I want him to be. I want him to be really good and be the best in our conference, and have a chance to help us up front.
With R.J. Roderick, obviously, he's a freshman, didn't have a lot of DB experience, kind of gets thrown in. When you look at those last 5 games, is that a matter of, him still not knowing a lot of the stuff and just being able to make do, or had he kind of absorbed as much as he absorbed a lot of stuff really fast and kind of been able to process it and do all that?
RJ is really smart. He knows he's a highly intelligent guy, and he understands ball really good. And it's funny because he played all quarterback in high school. He didn't play much safety at all. So it was funny to see how fast he was able to grasp everything like he was able to do it. But, like I said, man, you give kids opportunity, you'll be surprised sometimes what they'll do. And so he got some opportunities to go out there and make plays, and he made plays. But like I told him, we looked at his point of attack tapes, and everybody talk about the good 25 plays that he made, and then nobody want to talk about the 45 bad ones that he made. Mm-hmm. And we want to improve those 45 bad ones and make sure, all right, it's 45 good ones and maybe 10 bad ones. Mm-hmm. And if we can get that kind of, ratio, then we'll have something. But RJ got a chance to be really good. He got to continue to learn what we're doing. He got to continue to have work ethic and all the stuff that it takes, and get around the right people and do the right things all the time.
Which linebacker spot are you going to start Derek Boykins at, and what kind of traits does he have that could enable him to be successful as a freshman?
Well, he's smart, and he can run, and he's powerful. So those 3 things are something that we're looking for in every linebacker that we recruit here in South Carolina. But we'll move him around a little bit, so we'll start him off at the Mike and let him play Mike. And that'll keep him out of some of the coverage stuff, because it's so much to learn when you're playing a wheel backer for us, because it's a bunch of coverage stuff as well as dang run fit stuff. So it'll keep him out of some of those scenarios and let him go in the box and fit runs and do all the things like that, and not really worry about all the time worrying about the pass stuff.
Do you expect Zach to be full speed by spring, or you think he's going to be limited all spring?
Oh, yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah, he'll be fine. He just got some bumps and bruises. He'll be just fine.
How much did the hip affect Javon last year?
You know what? I'm sure it affected him some. It's funny, I was talking to him today. It's the first time he said he felt good. He felt like, he can really, do some stuff. And I'm excited about, seeing him work and come off it. But, to be honest with you, I couldn't tell his hip was hurting. I mean, I thought he was playing good. I thought he was running to the ball well and doing all the things like that. But, from a personal standpoint, he thought it was. And obviously there was something wrong with it. So he was able to fight through it throughout the course of the season and give us what he had. And then we were able to get it fixed. And now he'll be 100% ready to roll when we start camp.
In the kind of limited action he got, what did you see from Jalen Dickerson when he finally did get out on the field, and what's been sort of his progress?
Yeah, I mean, Jalen, if he can stay healthy, he'll be a really good player for us. And that's one of the things that he knows, and that's one of the things that our staff knows. But you look at him on special teams, the guy is a guy who hits and runs very well. When he got a chance to play some safety, he did some nice things at times. He just didn't have a bunch of reps, and, he's a rep guy. He needs to rep it a bunch. And when you're hurt, you can't rep. So he got to stay healthy, and so we'll see where he goes.
It didn't take you all but a couple of practice into
the spring last year where y'all identified that forcing turnovers may be a problem for last season. That proved to be true. Do you sense some of those same traits this year? Are you a little more encouraged, or how long do you think it'll take to get a feel for the same situation?
Well, BMAC might not want to hear this, but I felt the ball was on the ground a lot today, and so our guys was getting the ball, and our guys are thinking about it. So we're excited about it. I think, from a mindset standpoint, our mind's in the right spot. I truly believe that. I know that Coach Muschamp made an emphasis in front of the team today, this morning, about how we're going to get the football and how it directly affect winning and losing. And I know our guys want to win. We're eager to win. We're eager to get this thing turned all the way around, and our guys are going to do what they got to do it.
Who are some of the people that y'all looked at as you thought about adjusting your schemes, tweaking your schemes? Where'd you look?
So, we have some guys that's friends, that we're able to do. We spent some time with Atlanta, obviously. We'll spend some time with Tampa Bay. Right now, because of the recruiting cycle, how it falls, you don't get a chance to do that. We'll do more of those things, after spring ball, and then kind of get us ready for the fall. But we was able to see a couple of guys over there at Tampa, and then over there in Atlanta. So we'll probably take a couple of more trips and just kind of see what other guys doing and kind of scheme ours up a little bit more and see what we got.
Do you anticipate playing more three-man front this year than you did last year?
I don't know that. I think we have the talent to play four-man, and I don't think we need much more three-man. I like what we're doing from a four-down standpoint, but we have the capabilities to do it three, and I think for offense, it's hard to prepare for both of those things, so that's the reason why we do it. And then we'll have some more girth, so we'll have some bigger four eyes that we can play in and play good in the B gaps and be able to force the ball to go outside a little bit.
But ideally, you'd rather do four?
Yeah. I would say we'll probably be more four down than three down, but have the capabilities to do some three down and to be able to give them a different look.
Is your depth at defensive end, and as far as being able to rush the passer, is that probably as good as you've had since you've been here?
Definitely, it's not close. You look at Dennis Wonham, you look at Aaron Sterling, you look at a new kid we just got here, Rodriguez Fitton, Hot Rod is what we call him. You look at some of those guys who were able to move JJ to end. I mean, those right there, that's 4 or 5 guys that can really get after it. And so I'm excited about it. I'm excited to, not have to pressure all the time, be able to just rush for and get to the quarterback. And obviously we were able to do that last year some, but you lose Dennis Wonham in the first ball game. I mean, that kind of hurts your pass rush right there all in itself.
Will Kier play both?
Yeah,
again?
so Kier will be a swing guy for us. Obviously, Kier's probably one of the guys, I guess he's been here the longest. He was part of our first recruiting class. Seemed like he's been here forever. And he's a guy that done played both already anyway, and he's very intelligent, and he knows what we're doing. So Kier's a guy that can definitely do that. So our swing guys would probably be Kier, be Jabari Ellis, and then we'll probably do a little bit with Zach.
Could Joe be a swing guy at some point, Joe Anderson, or is
Yeah,
he strictly?
yeah. Right now, I mean, he's spinning. I mean, he's spinning in a big-time freshman way, how we practice, what we do. And so right now, just trying to get him comfortable at one spot. So right now, he'll just play strictly in for us right now, and that's what he'll do. And then we'll kind of go from there.
Coach, you mentioned some of the recruits now growing up before your eyes, guys you started out with early on in this first year, or now upperclassmen, and this program's growing too, just based on where we're standing right now. Where have you assessed how this program has come along in the time that you've been here now?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man, I think, from athletic department standpoint, the support's been unbelievable. Coach Tanner and his staff, they do a great job with us, and Coach Muschamp done a really great job of building it the right way from inside out. And obviously, with the additions of the building and all the different things that you see going on around here, it's in the right spot. But, from a player standpoint, from a team standpoint, it's funny, being a guy who's been here now 4 years, going on my 4th year, to see those guys, because, the seniors sit in the front. So I looked up today, and I just happened by chance to look, and when I see Dennis Wonham head, I see Kier Thomas, and I'm thinking, holy moly, man. Either I'm getting old or they getting old, but one of us getting old. But, from a program standpoint, I think right now, we're in a good spot. We have a really good football team returning. I'm excited about our guys. I think they're excited about where we are, and so we're excited to see how it goes.
When you guys visit places like Atlanta and Tampa Bay. Just what are those conversations like? What do you talk to them about and kind of?
Yeah, so we just share ideas, some of the things that we do from pattern match stuff or some of the pressures that we have. And then we kind of look at maybe just from specifics, how do you play in the red zone? What is your primary red zone coverage? What's your primary, run game versus in the red zone? Just different things like that. So we're just sharing ideas and seeing if it fits. Sometimes it don't fit. I mean, we ain't gonna change philosophy, what we think, so that's not gonna happen. But it may be a couple of tweaks in how we doing some things. Maybe the technique is, different than that, and we just share ideas that way.
Is it unique for a college program to come out and talk to NFL teams like that? Have you been a part of that before? Or is that
Yeah. That's the standard, and they come see us, we go see them. So that happens all the time. We just just talking ball.
Who's going to be in the mix at nickel? Jam, JC?
I don't know that yet. Those are one of the things we're gonna work. A couple of guys. Obviously, Jam got a lot of reps at nickel. JC got a lot of reps at nickel. We're gonna use RJ some at nickel. So that's something that he'll be able to do for us this year. We started that today with him. So I have no idea. Then some of the young guys, and I'm thinking maybe Shiloh and Jamie Robinson will probably be some of the other guys that'll compete to play in the nickel spot. I have no idea. I'm eager to see that. If I had to tell you that right now, who will be the starting five when we step out there and what position they'll play, I'll probably be pressed to tell you. I wouldn't know that. So I'm excited to see how it goes. I really am, because, I would love to have JC outside at corner if we can. I think, he can be really dominant outside. He gives us another bigger body, so we'll be really big outside if that's the case. But I don't know that, so we just got to kind of see where everybody kind of fall, and then we'll kind of make a decision from there.
What y'all like about Jamie as a prospect coming in?
I like all good players. He can run and he can hit. And it's funny, man, when he came to camp, we do the county fair at camp. And you can see some of the 5-star, 4-star guys, they kind of shy away from that kind of stuff. Jamie jumped right in there, man. He was the first person in the line at every drill. And that's just some things that we watch. We're looking for characteristic traits, all right, that we like. Guys that's going to have the work ethic, guys that's not going to be prima donnas, guys that's going to come in and going to compete. And one thing that anyone that ever been around Jamie will say is he's a competitor. And so that's important to us. He got a chance to be a really good football player, and can't wait to get him here.
Those are circuit running drills y'all do early on in the county fair stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been there before, yeah. You never jumped out there, so you probably not one of them guys.
I didn't know you had a scholarship.
No more scholarships left, man.
Okay.
Did Hot Rod do anything to earn his nickname, or is it just a play on his name?
Hot Rod. I don't know. Someone just told me to start calling him Hot Rod. I don't know. He's a funny dude, man. We did a couple of, so we did a pre-skit, right? We normally do skits doing camp and all that kind of stuff, but we did our special team draft the other day, so I called him up and made him impromptu. All right, he's gonna tell me, give me your talent, what can you do? So he played me and Coach Dillman, and he did a really good job. It was really funny. So, but he's a funny dude, man. So I'm excited about old Hot Rod.
Who does the best impersonation of you?
Probably Israel. They around me more than everybody else, and they got all my moves down, how I wear my hat, all kind of stuff. So they say the stuff all the time. So every time we do skit, they get me pretty good.
Does anyone have the guts to do a must champ?
I hadn't seen a good one yet, so no. I mean, if they do it, they'll be a little nervous to do it because he's sitting in that front row. So they won't do it as good as they'll do it. But they love to kill assistant coaches, that's for certain.
When Shiloh gets here and gets involved, that you'll see some of Dion coming out to practices and kind of.
Oh, I would imagine. I mean, obviously Dion got a busy schedule, so he's NFL Network, Under Armour. He got a lot of stuff going on, but that's his dad, and he's been in his life. So I'm sure he'll come, and his mom will come too. I mean, that's just typical of every family. So I wouldn't say that, because I mean, a lot of kids' parents come to practice all the time, but it won't be a big show. Dion is not like that. He's kind of under the radar. I'm gonna come in and watch him and be done with it. He kind of was hands off in the recruiting process. I kind of went through, some of the other guys, his position coach, who I played with when I was in the NFL. So he kind of didn't really mess around with that kind of stuff that much, because he don't want it to be about him. He wanted it to be about Shiloh.
Is Joe Horn around some?
Oh yeah. Joe's around a lot. He's a really good guy. He's in town sometimes. He's a really good guy, and he's heavily in part of JC's life. And him and JC got got an unbreakable bond, and he compete just like Joe used to compete. I remember Joe when he was playing. I was playing around the same time, and he was an ultimate competitor. And JC has definitely got that down pat.
How valuable is that for a kid whose dad played in the NFL for 14 years?
It can be a gift and a curse sometimes because the expectations are set that high, to try to do what your dad did. So, it can be good because you come from that kind of background and your dad can sit there and tell you what you're doing wrong, but it also can be bad because sometimes you can't meet those expectations that they set. So, we got to do a great job, and that's one of the things, that I had to sit down with Dion about and I had to sit down with Joe about. Like, JC is not Joe and Shiloh is not Dion. They're Shiloh and they're JC. And I'm never going to use their parents' success and try to motivate them to do that way. I don't do that, and that's one of the things that I will not do. For those guys, I want them to come in and find themselves and be the best version of themselves, and that's what we want from every guy on our football team. So we don't really talk about his dad, Joe. We don't talk about it's Mr. Horn. It's not the football player, it's the dad. And it's Dion. It ain't the best corner and ball. It's the dad. And that's kind of how we do it.
You can get Joe and Dion together at the same time and get them on the field and line them up against one another.
Them suckers old, man. They ain't going to do nothing no more. Yeah, them suckers old, man. They ain't going to do anything anymore, man. They limping around, man. They got a lot of footballs in them bodies. Yeah, I can probably take both of them downtown, man. How about that? You like that right there, Fink?
I'm gonna save that one.
Let's not use that. They'll talk. I get 1,000 phone calls. Let's not do that.
What about you and B-Mac one-on-one?
B-Mac can run, man. Like I just had surgery on my knee. I'm getting old. Back. I got a bunch of excuses. Yeah, B-Mac can really run. I told him within 15 yards I'd tear him up. If he get past 15, he take that deep ball, he might get me. So I had to pass interference or so.
Early impressions on some of the young quarterbacks, I guess, going against him in practice?
I really didn't get a chance to see him. I'm honest. I was really looking at the defense right there, trying to get some of those guys lined up. It was the first time they heard calls and was able to execute calls. So I couldn't tell you who was throwing the ball at all. I'm gonna be honest with you. Maybe in a couple of days I can start changing my eyes a little bit, but right now I was looking at D-line and linebackers and secondary, trying to get those guys the calls and getting those guys playing at the speed we need them to play at.
All right.
Good. All right, man. Y'all take it easy. All right.